All right, first grade friends. So last time we were here, you painted your rainbow paper. This time we are going to continue on with this project. So what you are going to do, since we just talked about some lines that we have learned in the past, we are going to use them on our project today. So you can see on my paper, I have little dash marks that go across my paper. So I have one here, and then I have one right across from it, one here, one right across from it, one here, all the way down. There's 5 dash marks on each side. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick one of those lines that we talked about, and you are going to draw it on your paper. So maybe I'm going to start with a zigzag line. So I'm going to start where that first dash mark starts, and I'm going to draw a zigzag line that goes back and forth across my paper, and it stops where that next dash mark right across from it is. So you're going to start at that very first dash mark, and then you're going to end at that very first dash mark on the other side. And you can see I didn't make my zigzags too big so they go too far up and down, because we don't want to come down into this space next to this dash mark. We just want to keep our zigzags kind of short. Then you can pick another line. I think now I'll do a wavy line. So I'm going to start at this next dash mark, and I'm going to draw a wavy line across to my dash mark right across from it. Just like that. Then I'm going to pick, maybe now I just want a straight line. So I can just draw from this next dash mark all the way across a straight line. Boop. Just like that. Then maybe I want a jumping line. Boop. Now I only have one more dash line left. So I think maybe I'll do a castle line. I'm not going to do too many castle marks because I don't want to make it too hard on myself to try to cut. Only draw lines that you think that you can cut out. So if you think castle line would be too hard for you to cut, then pick a different line to draw. So once you've drawn all 5 of your lines, then you're going to pick a background color. I think maybe I'll do red. I'm going to make sure that my name and class code are on my paper. Flip it over. Then I'm going to very carefully with my scissors cut out those lines. You can see I didn't draw too many zigzags because I don't want it to be too hard to cut out. If you make a bunch of little tiny crazy zigzags, that's going to be so hard to cut out. Now I'm going to cut out my next one, which is a wavy line. I'm going to make sure to keep them together. Now my straight line. Time for my jumping line. All right, now I made sure to keep them together because I want to remember what order they go in. I'm going to actually flip them over so we can see our beautiful rainbow side. So pretty. So what we've made here is kind of like a puzzle. You can see they all fit together to make our paper that we had to start off with. But what we are going to work with today is called negative space. So negative space is the space that happens between other things. So right now, this is all positive space. My rainbow paper is positive space. If I split these two apart like this space that is now going between my rainbow paper is negative space. So what we are going to be making today is negative space between each one of these lines that we have cut out. So I'm going to try to put this at the top of my paper. I'm going to try to leave the same amount of space on each side. You can see I've tried to center it on my paper. I've even left a little bit of space at the top. Then I'm going to make sure to leave a little bit of negative space between this one and this one. I'm going to do the same, and I'm still trying to make sure to leave the same amount of space on both sides. I'm evenly spacing out my shapes, so you can see I have about the same amount of negative space between each one of these. I'll keep going, line up my next one, put this one down here, and if it doesn't look like there's enough room for these down here, you can kind of scooch these up. I haven't started to glue anything yet, so that way if I have to move something, I can move something. There we go. So there's all my really cool negative space. I have this negative castle line right here. I have this negative space jumping line, this negative space straight line, this negative space wavy line, and this negative space zigzag line. You can see I have laid everything out to make sure it looks nice and neat and everything is evenly spaced before I've started gluing anything. Once you've laid it out and it looks really nice, then you can get your glue bottle. Make sure it's opened up. Check it. Is it talking to you? It's talking. So I'm going to pick up my first piece. I'm going to put just a little thin line of glue all the way around. Don't waste glue. You really do not need very much at all. I'm going to glue that down right where it was before, making sure to leave that negative space at the top and leave that negative space between that one and the next one. Then I can pick up the next one, put that little line of glue all the way around the edge. Stick it back in that space. Make sure I'm lining it up with the edges. You can see I'm patting down my papers just a little bit to make sure everything is really, really nice and glued down. Sometimes these papers that have been painted before, they don't like to really glue down that well. So you just got to make sure everything's really stuck down. If there's something that's not sticking down all the way, just lift it up and put a little dot of glue under there. Now we have our negative space rainbow picture.